All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Alchemy Podcast. I'm here with a longtime friend. I'm excited for today's conversation. My boy,
Dougie.
Pessy Party.
Yeah, buddy.
Danny Pessy in the flesh. Danny, I think you are, because a lot of my guests are door-to-door. I don't do all door-to-door. I do a lot of door-to-door, though.
Yeah. I've watched a couple.
Yep. Yeah, we're door-to-door. I've kind of still in the space coaching, right? I think you are the longest, 10-year rep I know in door-to-door. You've been in door-to-door. What was your first year, 2008?
8. Yeah, I did 14 full summer programs.
I don't know anyone else who's done 14, because there's people, it's like, I did 7 summers, then I transitioned to manager.
Yeah.
You went out to war 14 times.
Yeah, averaged 300 for 10 years in a row. It was not just summers, but dude, I was hitting it.
You're getting after it. And you started at Platinum.
Started at Platinum Protection. Yeah. I worked for the guy that recruited John Frampton into the industry.
That's insane.
Yeah. And John Frampton went to start Solar City Direct, and then Nevo, a couple companies since then. But I have quite a resume. I've read, quite the resume. Worked for some gangsters.
Yeah. So before we kind of dive into the past, and we can dive into the past, what I'm actually most curious about with you, having been front row engaged in the door-to-door space, Platinum in the glory days, Vivint glory days, transition through, now you have a coaching program and you're still in solar, and and solar's tight right now.
Yeah, it's not. It's seen better days.
I want to know the real, honest, genuine opinion on solar as of, what's today, October 8th, 2025. What's your assessment on the solar industry? Because some people are like, oh, it's great. Other people are like,
lying.
I'm out.
They're lying.
Yeah, but what's the issues we're running into right now?
It's seen better days.
Okay.
We had a huge rush where money was cheap, and solar's all about financing. So money was cheap, so the points to get out to borrow money were low. So then now that lower cost of money means more savings to the customer. Money has gotten more expensive. And so now with money being more expensive, the savings for the customers are not there. And so that has led to some issues across the industry. And then California passing a law that killed all of the net metering, which basically...
Tell me about that, because that's NEM 3, right?
NEM 3.0 was a law that was passed in California that when you have a solar panel, it pushes power onto the grid, and the grid would compensate you for overproducing power. And then all of a sudden, they stopped all compensation. So now that excess power from the roof going into the grid, they weren't paying for it.
You don't get compensated for extra power.
Nothing. So now
that's why people put batteries, right?
Bingo. Batteries are expensive. So there goes a lot of the savings. And then a lot of the times the guys don't properly size batteries. It becomes a much more complicated sale. So when people got recruited into solar, it was easy. You go in, you lower their bill, and people buy solar. And that was the pitch for people to go and do it. Now they have to know how the batteries work and how to offset electricity. It's a lot more complicated of a sale. And so that's what happened, is because these sales have become more complicated by adding batteries, compliance issues go up, bad reputations go up. Consumers are putting their hands up. Hey, this used to be a good thing. Now we're seeing scammers and people ripping people off now. Like, hey, we're holding off. So that's what the market is seeing right now. A lot of saturation, dishonest and unethical sales practices has caused some issues in a lot of markets where companies have literally been kicked out, and companies that have taken on some of these sales reps have put in those deals, and they're getting huge chargebacks. Like back in the day with security, we'd get our back end checks. If an account fell off, it was only $800.
Yeah.
Right. With solar, it's the whole loan.
It's a $50,000.
Chargeback.
Right.
And these solar companies, they're only making $2,000-$3,000 a deal average across the board. They get hit with one chargeback
that wrecks you.
It wrecks it.
Yeah.
Because in solar, basically the margins all go to the sales side, not the construction side. So the construction side is set eating the debt, and then any of those bad jobs that go through, they have to charge back the reps. But the rep, barrier to entry is easy for a sales rep. They just go bounce to another company. That company's left eating the debt, bankrupt. There you go. Everyone loses their pipeline. So
it's the Wild West right now.
It is literally the Wild West.
What's your prediction? How's it going to play out?
I believe that we are going to see a slow turn. I think there's going to be some big players exiting the space, And I see that solar is going to be hard for the next year or two. And then there's going to be some laws to push back. And I think the laws to push back are going to be in regards to the electricity usage we need to power AI. And so AI is a huge indicator of like sustainability in the space. But I think right now that the real pain they're going to feel from the infrastructure is going to be once AI's really started cranking, and we're going to see that in the next year or two. And then that pain on the infrastructure, the grid, is going to cause so much more issues where they're going to say, okay, we need to generate more electricity, and then the net metering is going to go back, and more incentives are going to come for people to generate their own power on site. And I see that happening.
Do you see some of these companies literally just been like, hey, we're out of residential, cut the residential, we're just going to go focus on building these solar farms to go back to the grid?
You don't see that much. No. Once a residential solar company is done, they don't go into commercial. It's like, dude, we're done.
Well, do you see a company transitioning
into that? Probably not.
Yeah.
No, they'd probably go into different sales orgs or do a different avenue. I see a lot of people pivoting to roofing, fiber. Landscaping's getting big now. Permanent lights.
Yeah.
You know, the next hot ticket item people want.
Home improvement.
Yeah,
right.
That's what I see.
So my question to you is, because I work with a lot of guys one-on-one, a lot of guys in the solar space. What mindset and skill sets are needed in 2025 that weren't necessarily needed during the gold rush 2 years ago, 3 years ago? Well, how does someone succeed in solar moving forward today?
So you're going to have to work 3 times as hard to make half the money. And that's the mindset you have to get into. A lot of guys were not as fortunate like we were to work at a company like Vivint, where there was no gold rush. We'd made it.
Yeah.
It was an even playing field. We didn't get market share pushing volume to us. We made it. So the thing is you need to start developing that. And the problem is these guys that got into solar at the gold rush, like door to door,
their perception's so skewed.
It was an imaginary thing that doesn't happen.
Wasn't real.
It wasn't real. And if you didn't take your money and invest it properly, you missed out. So you didn't play your cards right because it ended.
Dude, you could literally, if you could count to 10 and twiddle your thumbs, you could go make 100K in solar 3 years ago.
Bro, it was nuts. I'm seeing some of these kids, like, because I was doing, the workshops and all sorts of things, and just talking to some of these guys, how much money they were making. It was ungodly.
It was crazy. And I remember thinking, like, do I need to get back on the doors?
I know it. And then, that was the thing. It's like, we were at Vivint at that time, we were way more polished, way more dialed in. I'd see these guys, I'm like, bro, our groups would have crushed these people.
Annihilated.
And they were making hand over fist more than us. So that was the first time I realized that like a wave of a trend could really push you up in society outside of just your personal efforts. Because, me and you were never like, oh, we're going to go shop around, take on a sign-on bonus, because it wasn't the best opportunity. You made the opportunity. And what solar is the opportunity was in the cheap money and a blowing up industry, timing, right place at the right time. And so that was something very interesting for me to see, because if I would have stayed at Vivint and never left, I would have missed out on millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And so I'm lucky I left and jumped into something new and rode the wave and made a couple smart plays with my investments, where I'm at a completely different spot than I was 5 years ago when I was running teams knocking doors.
Sure. Right. So you mentioned it's going to require 3 times the effort for half the money. What other skill sets do you guys?
Yeah, you're going to literally have to start getting talent. You cannot get by not practicing, like being lazy, not training, not going to conferences. Like, I've gone to conferences every year, gone training every single year to be on top of my game. Like, there's this thing where guys didn't need to do that. Like, I remember talking to Rubs, I made a couple $100,000. I don't need anything. It's like, bro, that didn't used to be a thing. And that's what's crazy is these guys now have to really become students of the game.
Yeah, you got to polish your skill set.
Polish your skill sets. Like, sales is a sport. And imagine just showing up to games and scoring 30 points without practicing. Like, getting fat, out of shape, showing up to a game and dropping 30. Of course you don't think you need practice. But that's what's happening now is hey, you're going to go jump in a game and you're going to get dunked on. You're going to ride the bench and it's going to be like, holy crap, this isn't the same game I was a part of. You got to get a trainer. You got to start exercising. You got to get your life together and just become the whole person paradigm, which we learned from Jeff and Casey working for them so long. It's like, you guys got to really start taking it seriously and get good.
Yeah. And if we talk about on a macro level, the economy, there's all these talks of recession. If you go micro into the solar industry itself, the solar industry is in a recession.
Oh, yeah.
100%,
absolutely.
right? And it reminds me of the quote from Warren Buffett where he says, never waste a good recession, right? And I think there's an opportunity right now, especially with the guys I work with, where if you do what you say, double your efforts, focus on polishing your game, really cement yourself like, hey, I'm going to ride this thing out.
Yeah.
I think in a couple of years when adjustment changes, money might change. We don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Those that lock in and position themselves are going to have a nice payoff.
Oh yeah. Big time. I remember I first started knocking during the 2008 housing crisis.
Yeah.
The crash. I remember knocking on people's doors and they're like, bro, we're losing our house.
Yeah. We're foreclosing here.
Foreclosing on our house. Like the bank's taking our home. I didn't know what that was. I didn't know what a mortgage was. I didn't know what any of this stuff was. I was in high school. And so I learned how to sell in probably one of the hardest markets ever.
Where were you knocking?
Seattle, Washington.
Yeah.
With Parker and Ace.
Yeah.
And like
the OG boys.
Dude, those people were so miserable. They were so mean. Yeah. And like they were losing their homes. It was raining all the time. And I just remember how hard that was, but it made me into literally who I am today.
Yeah.
Like I'm so thankful that I started in a recession because I really got to learn how to get my skill set up. Like I would show up and just start fooling around on the doors, and then I would get drilled, slammed, no rejection over and over and over again. I'm like, oh crap, I got to start doing something to get better. I don't like this. Like I remember crying in like freaking the park. So I'm like, all right, Brian Tracy. So I just listened to Brian Tracy every day, and I was like, holy crap, every day I listened to that guy, and it really changed the way I thought. And I was like, wait a second, I feel good now. Oh shoot. So if I get good information, I feel better, and then I produce more, and then my life becomes better. And it's like, there was a crazy aha moment for me that, hey, I can listen to other people's thoughts, feel better, and go produce. And so that's just made me a student of the game right from the beginning. It's like, dude, you can figure it out and change your life.
One thing I see a lot too, because I do a lot of I actually have a speaking gig tonight here at Kin Solar right after this. But one thing that I notice a lot is when you first get recruited into the space, you're fired up. You're excited. There's enthusiasm. You're going to read Brian Tracy. You're going to do all the trainings, right? And then you actually go out and work for a little bit and get your face kicked in. And then people stop reading. They stop learning. They stop reading. They stop trying. They stop practicing their pitch. They stop getting better. And the one trait that I've noticed along the top performers I work with is that the top earners are also the top learners, right? And never stop learning. And so the first thing I think goes back to the basics is if you're a part of the solar squeeze right now, right? Get back into the books, get back to the Psychology of Selling by Brian Tracy, 10X Rule Grant Cardone, right? Like all the OG books. And you made a really good point. When you get good information, it makes you feel better. And when you feel better, right, you sell more. Sales is a transfer of energy. And so going back to the original conversation, what does someone need right now? They got to realize they're going to have to put more effort on the doors, right? And they're going to have to continue to work on their skill set of sharpening their saw.
And so anytime you're not doing good, it comes down to three things: hours, attitude, and approach. How many hours are you doing? Okay. If you're not hitting your quota, if you're not putting in at least 6 to 8 hours, there's problem number one. Two, your attitude, which most of the time it falls under attitude, right? Are you excited to go out and knock? When you are knocking, how long can you go? And then if you're not going long periods of time, what's happening? Why are you losing momentum? And then three is your approach. When was the last time you wrote out your presentation? When was the last time you consumed new information? When was the last time you went out and found a new close, used it on a client, and got results? Because that's part of getting excited is you go get new information, you would try it out on a customer, get new results. That's a high. That's an excitement. I remember going and reading literally Cardone stuff. Shout out to you, Doug. Doug was the guy that got me on Cardone in 2012 and been a huge Cardoniac up until recently where he pissed off Todd. But
he pissed off Todd.
You remember that?
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, that'll be a story for another time. But I'd go and I'd learn these new closes, and then I'd go and practice them on the doors, and it was becoming fun. And it's like, now I'm not nervous of knocking. I'm like, dude, I've got all this cool new material. And it's like, I'm then teach my reps all this stuff, and they're using all of these reverse closes. They're doing hypothetical questions. So hypothetically, man, like what was the main reason why you bought your security system? Okay, if you bought it and knew it didn't work half the time, would you have paid for it? Absolutely not. Are you the type of person, if you were going to pay for something, you would want it to work forever? Absolutely. That's why so many people are talking to me, because once they realize blank, 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 what they're paying for doesn't actually work. So we have two options. Either you cancel it or you get this thing done, handled now while I'm here today. So go grab your checkbook. So
close them up, Pessy. Let's go.
You lock them down.
Let's
go. It's like, dude, I haven't sold an alarm in 6 years, but it's like right off the top of my head. It's like, that's part of being a professional polished salesman. And so that's why it's like sales are not bad and they're not unsustainable. It's the people that are bad and unsustainable. They need to learn really how to get their stuff dialed in. And it's just like any profession. Like I can tell who's a good sales rep by just having a conversation with it. Just like if a guy's a personal trainer, if he's fat and out of shape, oh, that guy's not a good trainer. Or if he's jacked and in shape, okay, he's a good trainer. You could tell by his body because that's the product that he has. And so sales reps, you can't tell what a person looks like. You can only tell by hearing. And a lot of people don't have the skills of being a good sales rep to know who's good and who's bad. And so that's the thing is they can scoot by with subpar products and ride the good trend like a solar market. And then when it gets tough, oh, we're going to go do insurance. Oh, we're just going to get leads handed to us. Oh, I'm just going to sit at home and work overseas and take phone calls and like make money that way.
Yeah.
Like that ends up what's happening when things get tough. People want the lowest barrier to entry, the easiest thing possible, and that never makes any money. Like I already know guys that do that, like that try to find the easiest thing, the easiest money, they never are successful because they're just looking for the shortcut, not the hardest work with the biggest pay.
Yeah, I mean, it's so wise you're saying this. And so I've been lucky, within my coaching, it's a lot of personal development, interpersonal. So I've actually had a lot of conversations with people who are exiting the industry.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to talk about that because I think there's a time to transition out of the industry, and then I also think there's a time not to.
Yeah.
And this is my experience on it, having had this conversation with lots of people and actually been a part of a lot of people's transition in the industry. Where I see people get in trouble when they leave the industry is when they're actively searching to get out.
Mm.
So what I mean by that is you leave the industry under one condition. You absolutely have to, meaning this other opportunity you weren't really looking for shows up.
Yeah.
It's so insane. You love it. It's all you can think about. You're like trying not to think about it because you've got work to do.
Yeah.
And it almost pulls you off the doors. You're like looking left and you're getting pulled right. You're like, man, I think I got to go do this thing.
Yeah.
People who are like, where's the next thing? How can I get out of this? How can I leave? They're the ones who get burned.
Yeah.
Right. People who I've seen a lot of people successfully transition. And it's those that are like, it's almost like a calling. You get called off the doors rather than searching it out. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
So I agree. Like when I left Vivint, my goal was in 2012 when I came over from Pinnacle. The previous year, I was Pinnacle's top summer rep, managed a huge team. And our goal is we wanted to sell the company. So I said, I am not going to look for another opportunity till I get this company sold because it would be great for resume. In my mind, it's like a finish line. 212 was it, right?
313.
313. So 313 was the thing. And so I was like, dude, we got to sell this thing. We didn't hit 313, unfortunately, on the Forbes, but we sold it. And that was my cue to then go step up into another position. So then I worked for a smaller company. And then that smaller company, my teams blew up. I had 5 teams. Then they went to 20. Then they went to 50. And this was transitioning into solar. And so I caught the wave. And then it got so big that I was managing managers more. And the time it took me to go out and sell was actually causing more damage to my downline than working. And then I started up a consulting agency and that blew up. So it was almost too hard. It was actually costing me money knocking doors. And so that was a point where my calling is being on stage and entertaining people. And I knew that was eventually going to be it because when I first started getting into door to door, it was to pay for all my comedy shows and stuff like that. Right. And so basically it got to a point where it's like, it didn't make sense for me to knock anymore. It's kind of like Todd Peterson. Like it was like, if he was knocking doors, I'd be pissed. I'm like, Todd, go run the company. What are you doing?
Right.
So of course I'm anywhere near Todd, but in general, it gets to a point where if you have such a big team and you figured it out, that's when you should stop knocking. And so the golden rule is you figure it out as a rep, you figure it out as a manager, you figure it out as a regional, and then after you figure it out as a regional, that's when you can stop. If you can't figure out as a rep, you can't teach somebody to do that. If you can't figure out a manager, you can't teach somebody how to manage an office. And if you can't figure out as a regional, you can't teach somebody to do that. So essentially, you can never duplicate and replicate yourself, and then you're just going to be stuck with a certain skill set. So you can go be a stockbroker or be a sales rep and only make money in sales, but you'll never make wealth. Sales, you'll get rich. Managing and region managers, I made more money in 1 month of overrides than I did a full summer knocking doors at Vivint. It was crazy. But the thing is I learned that skill set. All those years I worked under the GOATs, Jeff, Casey, Bodie, the boys, learning from them. Now when I'm in that position, that's where I was able to replicate, duplicate, and that's where all my income went. And so that's why it's like, if you don't follow that trajectory, you're going to leave this company and then, okay, you start your own dealer. You've never learned how to be a manager. You never learned how to do a regional. So your company's only going to be you and 5 to 10 people. That's it. And then as soon as, let's say you take advantage of a fast moving market where you get a bunch of deals, cash thrown your way, cool. When the money goes away, So is your team. You're going to drop back right to where you were. And then you're face to face with, hey, I don't know how to manage. I don't know how to be a regional. And you're going to be back at the same spot. And that's when people just tap out and they say, all right, screw it.
Well, the reality of the industry is this, Pessy. It is not a sales industry. It's a recruiting industry. We work in a recruiting industry, right? That's exactly the name of the game, right? The highest earner, I mean, I don't know this for sure, but I'm going to give a very strong assumption. The highest earner at Vivint the last 10 years is Neil Rogers.
Oh, yeah, Neil.
It's Neil Rogers, right? I mean, I love Neil. Neil's a goofy guy. He's incredibly authentic. One of the best guys, right?
Yep.
I don't think he's not out knocking doors. He might go out and train and be with some. I don't know specifically, so I'm not. I don't want to speak too much of it. But I know that
summer was 2010.
Yeah, but I know he's not knocking doors, and he's probably one of the top earners in the entire, for sure at Vivint, not in the whole door-to-door industry.
Yeah.
And what does he do better than anyone else? He manages and recruits.
That's it.
And he has systems in his system implementation, right? And so you got to keep in mind, we are in a recruiting industry. And where I think reps struggle in their growth is they go out and they become a top producer, right? And then they attach their identity as I'm a top producer, and then they get validation for that. Like, I'm the man, I'm the guy. And what happens is their job changes to leadership development. Now I've got to train and develop leaders, but it's like, wait, I'm the guy, I'm the sales guy though. I'm the number one rep guy. And that's where I get a validation. And so there's a really uncomfortable kind of like violent shift that happens that no one really trains on. But to your point, right, you've got to increase your skill set, right? When you're a rep, your skill set is transactions on the doors, right? As a manager, your skill set is managing other people, leadership development, system operations, navigating egos, right? And then regional is just, it's scaling that at a higher level. They're all different skill sets, and they all pay very differently.
Yeah, I remember Jeff always talked about it is you want to perform at a level above you. So if you're a manager, start thinking like a regional. If you're a regional, start thinking like a business owner. If you're a sales rep, start thinking of being a manager. And that was my biggest thing is I spent so long selling a ton. You're right. That was me. I was literally the identity of being
I'm the guy. I'm the top rep guy, right?
Now you go and run the team. The characteristics of a top rep are not typically a good characteristics of a top leader.
100%.
They contradict themselves.
Yeah, top rep, it's go grind your face on whatever it takes, lock in, think of no one else but yourself.
Correct. And then your reps see that. They're like, oh, that's not trustable. He's a machine. I can't duplicate that. I don't want to be that person. No, thank you. And they leave. They can't get close because you're a machine. And so after years of doing therapy and training and getting one-on-one with a fucking guy, like I really learned that people want to work for a real human, not a machine. And so I figured out that, hey, I have my skill sets. You can complement your weaknesses by having the right teammate in. Like the best duo I ever had was me as the rabbit. I had the team captain, and then I had the recruiter. And so the recruiter would bring in to the team captain, and then the team captain would get them all fired up, and then they would come shadow me. I would do the training, and then boom, the reps were like, dude, these guys selling lights out. I feel taken care of by the team, and there's more and more people coming in. Those are the three positions. You want to have the recruiter, the rabbit, and then the team captain. And so those three, if you're more one than the other, you can have other people mask your weaknesses so that you can scale. And when I figured that out, that's when it became a lot easier to take my skills to the next level.
Yeah, I mean, you have so many years of experience, Pessy. I think 14 summers, right? I'm curious from your perspective, looking back at it, like what were some of the biggest mistakes you've made? And if you could go back, what would you redo?
I made the mistake of spending too much time being the cool kid selling a lot. Like you should sell lights out 1 or 2 years and then focus all of your attention on recruiting and leading. I got older and it got to a point where I was like the college kid that still went to high school parties. It was like, dude, this is weird. Like,
it's a good analogy.
It's like, bro, what are we doing here? And so for me, that was the aha moment because they did such a good job of like the swag and just like being the top accolades. I was like, it fulfilled a need of mine. But then eventually it started getting doled out. So the thing I would tell you is go win it. Go be the top guy for a year or two and then focus on building a team. Stack your cash. When you're going for those 2 years, and you're making big money, stash it. Do not spend it. Save that money so that you have a cushion because when you go focus on leading, your income's going to dip.
It's going to dip.
It's going to dip. You're going to go 2-3 year dip. So make sure you have stuff saved up because eventually it's going to start building and growing, and then your overrides will outpace any active income you can have. So that was the thing is save all of your money. The hard part is we were trained to make a bunch and spend a bunch.
Yeah.
And I was so broke after every summer I had to come back and sell a lot. So I couldn't focus on recruiting. And so that was the thing. Save your money, put it aside, and then basically have that nest egg so that you can focus on recruiting. Get your brand dialed in, get your marketing, learn how to get people from the internet onto your platform.
Yeah,
and
talk a
teach
little bit
them.
about more of that, because that's something I never got to experience, right? The kind of the recruiting boom through Instagram. And
I fucking crushed that
dude,
shit.
I remember back in the day, I think it was Sam Taggart posted his pitch on Facebook.
Yeah.
And Vivint Legal made him take it down.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, no, you can't post that, you know?
It was Can't Knock This. This was Facebook page 2016. And they were 14. It was
something like that, right? I remember Sam
right
posting his fit, and then they got taken. And now you see everyone posting their, this is my pitch and follow me for a day. And now it's like almost encouraged.
Yeah.
Because it creates personal brand, it gets views, right? It gets recruiting. And I never recruited off Instagram, but I feel like today, if I were to get back in the industry, you would have to have a personal brand to really make an impact.
Yeah, there's personal brand, but then there's also eyes. The eyes correlate to making money. A lot of guys are going out there. It actually hurts our space doing that. I actually firmly believe that going out and like shooting certain content is actually detrimental to our game.
Give me an
There's
example.
a reason. So you go out, right? What gets the most views is conflict.
Rage bait.
Rage bait, right? So going out and shooting that stuff, causing rage bait, gets a lot of views, but it makes everybody fight, and then it ruins your credibility.
Yeah.
And it makes our space look bad and make us all look like unprofessional sales reps, because you go to a customer's house, you mess with them, get them pissed off. It gets a ton of views, but at what expense?
Yeah.
And so for me, I've like, Vivint always ingrained in me, never post anything online. And it makes more sense now that I'm getting older and as a business owner, is that stuff could be used against you so bad, and it could ruin your credibility and ruin the game for people that are coming through seeing that type of stuff. So,
So how does someone do it the right way?
Well, Vivint was very big on nothing, just studio training. And that's where I've leaned a lot to. I've got a lot of online footage too, but I don't release it as much because I used to, I did a lot of jokes too as well. So I was definitely, if I posted some of my funny stuff, it wouldn't have been taken over too well. But blurring out the customers' faces, blurring out the addresses, and then going through your process and altering their, I guess you would need to alter their voice, but that would be probably the best way to do it, is just really protecting the customer's identity, and then not going for like smart ass remarks to get views, because you know what to say to piss somebody off to get excitement, right?
Yeah, it's got to be, the intention has to be value add.
Yeah,
right.
correct.
I'm going to provide value. This is how I overcome objections. This is what my door approach looks like. This is how I navigate, my neighborhood.
Yeah.
But I think would you say that it's a necessity in today's economy if you're going to go build an epic door-to-door team, that you need to have a really good online presence?
It's not a necessity, because there's guys like Neil doesn't even freaking log into his Facebook, but I know there's Aaron Katz, and Aaron Katz is like one of the best recruiters of all time. But it's like, it does help ground up, because the biggest thing is if they don't know you, they can't flow you. The Grant talked about, right? So that is big. It's getting your name out there for it. And that's how I honestly got my name. Like, I was one of the first guys on the internet doing stuff with customers. And
you were
10, 15 years ago. And that's basically, led to the Pessy special. And so
the freaking Pessy Saturday morning Pessy special, bro.
Yeah. So
give the users what the Pessy special is.
So I found a niche that door-to-door, the hardest part is catching qualified home buyers home, right?
Yeah.
And so who's home all day with great credit and is easy to talk to? Old people.
Old ladies.
Right? Old people, old ladies. And so I love selling seniors because they have such cool stories. They needed our product. We're literally saving their life alert button, cameras,
carbon monoxide,
carbon monoxide. So I knew I had an amazing product for them. And so I would go set these old people up, and my average customer age was like 72.
It's crazy to me.
So,
I was exact opposite.
Yeah, you were always doing young, the big packages.
Yeah.
I like the smaller, just for old people volume. And so you'd go in there and you'd sell them, and basically anyone over 70, I would take a selfie with them, and we'd hashtag Pessy Special. And then eventually I started making stickers and putting on the customers' windows. It was hilarious.
It was the whole thing. I mean, one thing you were so good at too was, I just didn't have the patience with old people, because it's a slow deal.
Yeah, it's very slow.
It's very slow. It's building rapport. It's trust. It's hearing them out. It's talking to them.
Yeah.
The product's great, and I know that I can provide value, but a lot of times the way my brain works is like, I want to go sell a $150 pack to a young family, and I just didn't have the patience. So I commend you for having the patience to sell to old people, because that was one thing I never got around to.
Yeah, I would get 2 or 3 by 5, and then basically find 1 or 2 older persons, younger people at that time.
Yeah, you're crushing it. You're crushing it. Yeah. So going back to mistakes, right? So you spent too much time as a sales guy.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a drug. You get hooked on the fame.
Oh, the validation.
The validation. And then the thing is then you're sitting at the back when you pass that up, and then you watch all these other guys you're better than getting awards, and then you're like, frick, dude, I hate this. I don't like this. It pisses you off. Like, they did such a good job of like brainwashing you to be a top rep.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the hardest part. You got to let that go.
Yeah. Tell us some of the mistakes you may have made in management and leadership.
I got some false data, and the data is you want to be Superman. You don't want to show any weakness in front of people. And so for a couple of years, I would just like, I'm a machine, nothing bothers me. And people it ended up being bad for me because people don't want to work for a robot, right? They want to work for a real human because that's where relationships are built. You can't build relationships if you're a robot.
Yeah.
And so people will come because of the flash and leave because they don't get a piece of you.
Right.
And so the thing you can do is you just start going deeper with your reps by leveling with them and having an actual relationship. I had relationships with nobody because if I got too deep, I could get emotionally upset. Just like customers, I never got deep with them. I'd have a couple conversations. I knew exactly what to say to get the deal, build enough rapport to make it so they didn't cancel, then I was gone. Like, no one got to know Danny. And that was the biggest issue is if you're going to manage, let them know the real you. And if you have weaknesses, they'll actually appreciate that more than pretending you don't have them.
Yeah. And I love that for you because your consulting is called Authentic.
Yes.
Right. And so I think that is that triggered off of your skill set of learning to be more authentic?
So 2 things. It's a homage to Casey and Jeff and Bodie. And then the second is I felt that as my career, everybody was so big on just like going into the typical return missionary Vivint cookie cutter guy.
Yep.
Right?
Utah County, Provo mission. Yep.
And I did it my way. I played by my rules, and I didn't change myself for anything. And I was just my authentic self. And I went out there and I literally beat probably almost everybody at that game by just being myself from California. No LDS, no mission, nothing, just a knucklehead. And I learned how to get my game on, and I freaking went after it. And so, why I call it authentic is because if you are going through life and you pretend to be somebody you're not, you're going to get prizes that aren't really suited to you because you became somebody you're not in the process. The key is to try to be as much as yourself, trim the fat, right? Because everybody has fat. You trim the fat, but you're still yourself, and do it authentically. The reward is going to be so much more fulfilling than you becoming an individual that you weren't in order to get to the next level. And there's so many people on the internet, like people faking stuff, like doing unethical things to win prizes, and then they realize why they're not happy. It's like, well, you sacrificed yourself to get these prizes, and that's not even worth it. You did all these things to get these accomplishments. And if you were just your authentic self and did it the right way by trimming fat and improving the real you, then you'd feel so much more fulfilled at the end of the day.
Yeah. It's been really cool, inspiring to watch you go through that transition from afar. As I've watched you, I've seen, you mature, you've seen more calm, more grounded, more sure of yourself, more secure. And I feel like a lot of people in the industry need that for sure. And obviously in your consulting with Authentic, you're probably seeing a lot of people come in. One thing I want to touch on, as you are more well-versed in multiple industries. So solar, alarms, pest, roofing, home services.
Not pest. I no mess with
pest. No pest guys. No pesties.
No pesties.
Hey, I love the pesties, right? John Taylor from the Grid's become one of my closest friends.
Yeah, that guy's a gangster.
They're a different breed, bro.
Yeah,
the pesties. The pest guys, like my niece went and did pest this summer.
Oh, good.
At the Grid and finished top 10 rookie, 20-year-old Alabama.
Genetics.
And they grind.
Yeah.
They like
harder than we did.
They work. I think they work harder than anyone else.
Yeah. More
pest
hours
control
than
people.
we did.
They get after it, right? So I got a massive respect. I've had Zach Seeger in this chair before on my podcast. I don't know if you know him from the Grid. He's probably, in my opinion, probably pound for pound the best sales rep I've ever hung out with. Right?
If as long as like the hours you put in and the intensity it's
crazy. So no pesties for you at Authentic, right? I'm curious more for my own personal knowledge. What's going on in the roofing industry? Because I feel like it's becoming more in my dome of awareness. More people are talking about roofing. I've got friends who have roofing companies. Like it's seeming to become more common. Like, what's your viewpoint on the roofing industry, and is it a viable option for someone who might want to leave solar?
Yeah, roofing is definitely viable. There's the roofing industry started off as very blue collar.
Yeah, it kind of has like this rugged kind of perception.
It's a lot of the roots of the industry has come from people that have gotten out of jail or gotten off of drugs and are recovered through AA and going out and changing their life by doing insurance claims. And some of the coolest people you see transform their lives through it because there's a big culture of that. A lot of the big players in the game have gone through that. So that's why the ruggedness comes there, where they're just, no one gave them a shot. So they're like, cool, we're going to go sell roofs door to door. And they've been millionaires because of it.
I mean, my highest earner in Alchemy owns a roofing company.
Yeah. Dude,
right.
those guys
it's
make
crazy.
Good money.
It's crazy.
So the thing is now it's starting to become more white collar as solar guys are starting to transition. But what they're finding out is insurance companies, why roofing is such a big moneymaker is because when an act of God happens to a property, insurance will replace it. And then the roofing company can max out their stack on it, and the insurance pays for it. So they're making ungodly money on these claims. But what's happening now is the insurance companies are being a lot more tighter. Yeah. They're condensing.
They're restricting.
And they're restricting how much money. Like I just had a claim done on my roof, and they gave me $10,000 for it. I'm like, dude, I couldn't even get a guy to my house for $10,000. Yeah. So they're getting very, very tight with what they're giving. So the industry saw a 30% consolidation last year compared to the year before. And so there's still great viable compared to solar, which seen an 80% reduction. And so even some people are saying 90. And so I would say comparative to the two, it sees its own difficulties, but you want to know that insurance is getting harder. The game isn't about selling doors. It's about how to maximize your insurance claim. And so that's another ball game in and itself.
It's a different skill set.
It's a different skill set. So that's the thing. It's getting away from just pounding doors and now how to maximize a claim. When they say they're not going to pay, how do you get more out of it? They say there's no damage. What do you do? So it's a whole song and dance you got to be ready for. And so that is a really good viable option, though, comparative to solar. But it's still relying on insurance unless you're doing retail. And then retail is, you just find a loan provider that can finance your loans, and it's a little bit easier.
Is there a industry in door-to-door that is on a boom that's rising?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fiber.
Tell me more.
So fiber is blowing up right now. So Ronald Reagan did this campaign to connect America. So he tried to get phone lines to everywhere in the United States, right? Then eventually it got to a bigger fund where they tried to get internet to everywhere in the United States. And then it became the Obama phone. And the Obama phone. Yeah, it's about connecting America.
Yep.
And so that same fund that we pay taxes to are now trying to catch up with Europe on fiber internet, because Europe is 10 years more advanced on their internet. Our internet is all on cable, on copper, right? Fiber is 10 to 1,000 times faster. It's light, right? And so now America needs to catch up to these other European nations with their internet speed, right? And so what they're doing is the government has money set aside to lay these fiber lines. And so what they're doing is they're going to internet providers saying, hey, look, we will compensate you heavily for selling these fiber deals and getting customers to switch. So a lot of money from the government is being pushed in to the fiber industry, and a lot of people that never could get super fast internet are getting it because you come to the door, you swap payments, and you're getting 10 times faster internet speed.
So are they focusing on like rural areas?
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere. Just rolling neighborhoods, just coming through, installing everything.
So who's laying these lines? Is it AT&T, Verizon?
T-Mobile, AT&T, Verizon doesn't. It's Frontier. Frontier is the internet for, I don't know if they're still partners anymore, but Frontier is a big one. And there's a bunch of small mom and pop shops. One of my biggest clients basically got acquired by T-Mobile, a company called Lumos, one of their master dealers. They got acquired by T-Mobile. So these big conglomerates are buying these small mom and pop shops. So the goal is you go in, you blow it up, you get acquired by a big company, make a multiple, 313 all over again.
Yeah. So but just to get straight, so these government is paying to lay the fiber lines.
Government is compensating the fiber companies to do it.
To lay the lines, right? Yeah. So then you go into a neighborhood and let's say someone has 50 megs of internet and it's $100 a month.
All wired. It's already pre-wired. Hey, sorry, it took so long to get here. We wired your thing. When do you want your stuff installed? Oh, okay, cool. Boom. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
under AT&T. Oh, it's under these guys. Yeah.
Well, it's AT&T. You're paying $100 a month for 50 megs. Now you're going to get
$100 for a 1 gig,
a gig
up and down. Yeah.
So people, it's an absolute no brainer. It's
yeah. Everyone's going to get forced to switch to fiber anyway. It's not a matter of if, it's when. It's like dial-up. Dial-up finally this month shut down. So now you cannot have the dial-up. You know that thing where you plugged it in?
Totally.
You answer the phone?
Old school.
That's what I had when I first started in life.
Yeah.
And so that's gone now. So they phased it off. Analog to digital televisions. They went from analog to digital. The bunny ears can't do that anymore.
Yep.
Same thing with internet. Copper lines are going to be done. Same thing. Everything's going to go to fiber. So that's the next big bull rush market.
What do the commissions look like on those
$200
deals?
to $300.
Yeah.
Managers 100, dealer stack 200. So anywhere from 300 to 500 for the company.
Is the full stack.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so where do you see, what markets do you feel like are the hottest for fiber right now?
East Coast is blowing up. Yeah. East Coast is really, really big on fiber. That's where I see most of the stuff going. And then I foresee it passing through the Midwest.
I mean, it's crazy you're bringing this up too. I was literally on the phone with a good friend who's like multifaceted entrepreneur, like in multiple industries, online selling, nutrition, right? And he kind of had a fiber side gig going on the East Coast.
Yeah.
And I recently was just talking to him and he's like, this side gig that I started, it's now my full-time thing. Like it's blowing up.
Yeah.
And I'm like hiring people for it. And it's giving all of my energy and attention right now.
Yeah.
So it seems that it's
dude, it's crazy, bro. Like it's because people want it. And we're seeing a space where everybody was high ticket, high commission, high risk.
Yeah.
And so people want to mediate that now by something low commission, low risk, high volume. Yeah. And so that's why I've been seeing a big push of people towards fiber.
I mean, how can you not go into a neighborhood where they have copper lines and you're offering fiber and you can't sell 12 in a day?
Correct. People are doing that now. Yeah. Like, dude, I've seen one, Paul Little, a buddy of mine, he did 22 in one day.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah.
So there's always a bright spot in the space, right?
Yeah, there's always things that, and then there's water filters. Water filters is starting to become a big thing
Water
now.
filters.
Yeah, dude. Believe it or not. Yeah, water filters where they, the city pulls in the water, they basically filter it all out and goes in the home. That's starting to come up. Permanent lights is another big thing.
Yeah.
Basically full-time Christmas lights. You can change the colors. I got some at my house.
So are you working with all types of people like this?
Yeah, I've gotten away from mentorship and one-on-one coaching and consulting groups to mostly building out LMS systems, learning management systems for companies.
Say more about that.
So basically, let's say you couldn't do in-person trainings anymore. How would you train your people? And most companies have no way of doing it.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. They go watch a video on YouTube. Cool. Well, if they were responsible enough, like there's videos on YouTube already. Why aren't they masters at everything? They're not. So the thing is there's videos, but then there's learning management systems. You have to have a system to get a new person in and train them up. And so what ends up happening is I'll go into these companies. They have no way of scaling and teaching their people unless they're there doing it themselves. So I'll go in, I'll get with their top guys, we'll record all of their content, and then I'll put them through a process of how to get a guy trained up and scaled up so that they can go out and replicate that 1,000 times over. I feel a lot of companies can't scale because the managers are like, well, if this guy sells, then I'll put training and time into him. Yeah. Like how many times do you just get thrown to the wolves? Because the guy doesn't want to train you because he thinks you're going to quit. So how can you use technology? And I have this new AI role-playing thing. How can you use all of the technology to weed people out to know who to put your effort into?
I mean, it's so brilliant because the common friction point I work with a lot of clients is that you train someone on how to sell, but you also aren't ever trained on how to recruit, and they don't have the back end systems for it, right? So like the manager has to go recruit every single person. So I recruit you and you bring a friend in, but you don't know how to train.
Correct.
So now I've got to train you, but you're also, our training's still kind of new, and now I've got to train you too, and there's 4 other guys. Yeah. And I also have to manage the team. Yeah. Right. That's why teams can't grow.
Yep.
Because it's such a bottleneck.
Yep. And so that's the thing is it's just technology now. You can really build that all out where you can duplicate yourself.
Yeah.
And so the thing is, I see companies that don't do that. It's like they're never going to scale past their leadership.
Yeah.
It's like that's as big as it's going to get, and the guys are just going to keep cycling.
What are some of the mistakes managers make when it comes to actually the protocols of training?
They're not managers; they're leaders. And management and leadership is very different. I just had an event going over on this, but the key thing is leader is the guy that goes in the field, sells a ton. The manager is the guy that gets the quota from the rep, gives him a timeline on when he can complete it, and then consistently checks up on them and hold them accountable. So there's their goals, But then what's underneath that? The training to help them get the goals. When was the last time a manager reached out to the rep and said, hey, I noticed you haven't done any trainings lately. Your numbers are down. What are you going to do? Oh, just go hit more doors. Go hit more doors. That's not the solution. Go get more skills. And then you can knock less doors if your skills are up. The last year I was full-time knocking, I was talking to 5 people a day, 5 to 6 all day.
Yeah.
And I would sell 1 or 2 of them.
Right.
And that's where you need to get at. It's because your skills are so high, those couple conversations last. And so that's the thing is how do you get there is you have to get trained a lot.
Yeah.
And the manager doesn't want to put that effort into, but if he recorded all of his stuff and made the person go through it and held them accountable, hey, Doug, welcome to the team. You have 1 week to go through 30 days to pro. I'm going to check on you 2 days. I need you to get an 80% or better before we go out on this blitz.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you commit to that?
Yeah.
Shake my hand. Cool. You commit to it. If you don't and you don't complete it, that tells me all I need to know about you.
Yeah.
So thank you. And then, this is your demonstration to show me that you want this company.
Yeah.
And so that's the big thing.
I've got a nugget for people listening right now.
Give it to us.
I got a gold nugget. It's actually, it's subtle, but it's a big deal. So when I was the company sales trainer at Vivint, there was 1 year where I was literally I was working with Scott Bell.
Everybody. Yeah,
I was training Scott Bell, I was training Neil Rogers, I was training Aaron Doria, Brad Rossler, right? It was a really fun year, 2016, 2017. And this is what I picked up on is I believe that when you take note for if you have new recruits or new reps in your office, the first thing you train on is how to complete a transaction.
Mm-hmm.
So let me give you an example, right? So if you work at Vivint, before I train door approach, before I train on any of that, the first thing I'm going to train my guys on is how to run credit, how to collect payment, how to build a package. Mm-hmm. That's the first thing I train on.
Yeah.
Because what it does is it gives you confidence when you get inside the house, right? The goal, here's the goal. This is a standard for reps. Do not let a rep knock a door unless their mom called them and wanted the product that they could complete the transaction. Because what I would see is you practice door approach, door approach, door approach, door approach. Then you get a rep get inside a house, but he has no idea how to run credit, no idea how to run the credit card, no idea how to build the package. And so what happens to his confidence?
Yeah.
Goes to the floor and they stutter and they get frustrated and they panic and they seize up and they self-sabotage and they lose the deal. Then they get frustrated.
Yep.
Versus if I've got a rep who's super confident that I can complete a transaction and you got to knock doors, right? And you bump into someone who's, we've been wanting to get Vivint. Cool. I get that deal. And now I'm confidence high. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling enthusiastic, right? Versus someone wants Vivint, but you don't know how to close that deal, right? You're not getting that deal, right? So just a quick little hack for you guys that are listening still. And to increase the quality of your reps training, the first thing you train on is this is how you onboard a customer. This is how you complete a transaction. And that will build the confidence of the rep. If they get inside the house, that they'll be able to close at a higher rate.
Because that is so true. Because guys will get in there like, all right, dude, I don't even know how to size the system. I don't know how to do any of this stuff.
Yeah.
Boom.
But I gave you a great door approach and I got inside the house. Right. But now I don't know how to do anything. Right. And so,
smart.
So just kind of some basic rules to get someone on a blitz is you should not bring a first year person on a blitz if they haven't completed whatever your online training is. Yeah. Whatever your company is. They can't get paid, meaning they haven't submitted their bank info, their I-9, their W-9, kind of the basics, and they haven't written their pitch out. Yeah. If they haven't done those basic things, get them out of there. Don't bring them on a blitz.
Because they're just wasting your time and money. And that's the thing that I get these guys built out because, the thing is they're managing teams and they've go so used to managing people and not systems. The system is you put them through this platform, it gets everything done for you. So you have a nice finished product, a rep who knows how to sell, who has the pitch memorized, and can write up a documentation. And so that's the thing is guys get burnt out and company owners get burnt out because they want their managers to teach them all that stuff. But the owners of the company don't even give them the tools to help them with that. The managers are self-sabotaging too because they're like, oh, dude, I'm only making a small override. Like, it's not even worth training this guy. Yeah. It's not worth it. And that's a big thing that's happening through a lot of companies is the managers don't want to deal with all the bull crap. So they're like, forget it. Let the guy quit. And once he starts selling and making me money, then I'll put the time in. Yeah. How do you fix that? You build a learning management system. And that's the big thing I found that I can really move the needle for companies. Because I go in there and I see it. I see who's using it. And I'm like, oh, this is great. So I've got all my guys cranking. And I know they're training. I never have to say
and they have
a word.
Accountability too. Because it's like, hey, I know you've done the trainings.
Correct.
Right, yeah.
I don't say a word to the clients. My trainings do. Yeah. And they're getting trained better like I was there 24/7.
So what size of team is ideal to work with Authentic?
If you've got 10 to about 100 reps. Yeah. Yeah. That's the ideal client. If you've got a 10 to 100 reps, you need to have somebody that basically can run, because once we build the learning system built in, then you can start adding more recruits.
Yeah.
If you're wondering why you can't recruit more, it's like, well, you push them into your team and your team can't manage them. You can't grow. So once you build the learning management system, then you can start bringing on ads to recruit guys in, because your managers are more confident. They can take on more deals. Just like a rep doesn't want to close a deal because he can't do paperwork, a manager doesn't want to manage because he has to train them all himself. Yeah. You get 10 new guys every week and you just poured your heart into a dude every day correlation, then he quits.
Yeah.
He wants to do that again? No. Yeah. You're losing guys.
I mean, and now's the time to do that. I mean, we're on October right now.
Yeah.
This thing will go live last week of October. Like, get these systems in place.
Yeah.
Right. And we'll put in the show notes too, like how to get in contact with you. I mean, majority of people I work with would need this.
Oh yeah. And if they don't, what message does that tell your managers and your team? Because the thing is if I work for you, I can only hope to be as 80% good as you. What does that tell me? The people underneath me get smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
So the thing is if you don't have a way to scale your company's growth outside of personal effort, you're going to be stuck with the same players over and over and over again, and they never grow.
Yeah.
So you have to start learning to use technology to help you as a business owner, because it's going to help you double down on your growth of your business. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck just going in circles over and over and over again. Your managers are burnt out. They don't want to take more people. It's not worth it to them.
Yeah. How can someone get in contact with you on this?
Shoot me an Instagram DM. Yeah. Just shoot me on Instagram or my Facebook or my
Danny
website
Pessy.
too as well. Yeah.
At Danny Pessy.
At Danny Pessy.
Cool.
Yep.
So we'll have all that in the show notes for sure. Absolutely no brainer. I do want to finish off with this last question though, Pessy, because we've kind of talked a little doom and gloom in the industry. It's restricting, right? It's not as good as it used to be. Let me ask you this. Why should a door-to-door rep be excited to be in the door industry today?
So same thing. I lived it before, and the people that stick and stay, you'll make this job pay. And so right now, although it's hard, it's going to be uncomfortable. If you get through this, you will set yourself up for life. And I'm living testament of it. I sold through multiple recessions. Okay. The housing crisis, the alarm recession of 2013, when all the companies went out of business and there was one or two guys left. Then the solar recession that's happening right now. Like, if you get through it, you will set yourself up for life, not because of the money you're making, but the skill set that you get when you're under so much pressure and you still figure out a way to perform and make the job right. That skill will carry on with you till when you find that new opportunity that Doug talks about, that's like pulling you away, that you can go in there and actually deliver. And that's the last thing you want to do, is leave this job with a bunch of money and no skills. I'd rather you leave this job with no money and a bunch of skills, because you can go recreate that cash. So if you're watching this, double down. Learning is fun. Learning you've been taught growing up isn't fun, okay? Because take a test, you'd get a grade. With this, when you learn, you earn. Your grade is your paycheck. Look into your bank account. That's the value that you provide to the marketplace. If you're not happy with the value you provide, go increase your skills and keep getting your skills up, because the value is attracted to the person that you become when you increase your skill set.
Amen. Prophet Pessy laying a sermon on us.
Thank you.
I appreciate you coming on, brother. Got a lot of love for you. OG brothers.
We've been through a lot. I had Doug Vivint Cartwright, baby.
DVC never dies, bro.
Never dies. Those
all right, bro.
Good times.
Love you, man.
Thanks for coming in.